Hello and welcome to Virtus.Pro versus Astralis. I'm going to be looking at a few of the last rounds from the last half of Overpass, which was map 2. Virtus.Pro were already up a map at this point, and of course this is from the grand finals of the last major, the eleague major of 2017. And I'm doing this because a lot of people asked the question, did VP kind of throw it away? Did they, did they get into advantageous positions and then just kind of blow it? And that's what we're going to be looking at here. 4 or 5 of the most important rounds of the last 10. Enjoy. So the money really sucks for Astralis. It really, really blows at the moment. And let's take a quick position here on the map. So they're in a spot, our Astralis, where they've lost the last 3 rounds in a row. They won the pistol, they got reset. So VP have a nice bit of momentum here, and they can't realistically go for the AWP. They could try to do it and make a power play with it, but I like their choice of trying to have armor and more utility and playing together to make the aggressions instead. And that's what we're going to see here. They're going to try to mitigate their disadvantage by taking a 3-man aggression very quickly towards the fountain area. Now, when you have a situation where you've got limited, or rather you don't have the AWP, and you've got, which means that your ability to have strength on the picking scenarios is not as good, and you have low utility as well, you're in a spot where you need to take that early advantage. And the early advantage, if let's say you push straight away, because let's think about what happens when you push straight away. In the first 10 seconds of the round, they know that they know exactly where the T's can or cannot be, because there's only been so much time to run off the spawn. So if you go for a very quick aggression, you either get immediate information to inform the positioning of your other teammates, or you actually get a pick off straight away. And if you do that, then you can play very, very passively all the way back onto the bomb sites. And then you can force the other team to waste utility and try to run a set piece. And then you can avoid playing a picking game, which you're not equipped to play in the first place. So that is good ethos here from Astralis in that sense. And we can see them using all the grenades to try to mitigate risk, to try to make this forward play safe. And you can see the flash comes over from Device just as this smoke pops, and Glaive and Kirby are going to push into the fountain area. And they're quite lucky because Virtus.Pro, in knowing perhaps that Astralis don't have an AWP, they decide that they're going to try to take fast positioning towards toilets, and probably long as well have been the initial plan from them, and then to take over the connector space. This is kind of basic aggressive map control take from them. Now let's have a look and see how it goes. Kirby in a great position. You can see that he should absolutely be making this kill, and he probably does 9 out of 10 times, but this time he does not. Glaive is in a very bad situation. Gets traded immediately. So let's quickly consider now what this is about. And this is not about Astralis from this position. This is about VP. They're playing a 5 versus 3. You should always be winning these spots. Just so heavily advantageous. And that's kind of what we talked about in the intro there. So the typical way that you want to do this is just run in. Just run in and trade your way onto the bomb site. Use the numbers advantage. It is the simplest and easiest way to win this round. However, what we're going to see is, because we've got Bialy, just generally, this is what he does. He plays the B side of the map, the sewers. He will provide the flank in this situation. And because VP decide to take this a little bit too slowly, they have issues. You can see Device and Zipex do something very, very, very smart here. They evacuate the bomb site because they realize that the very likely scenario of VP just barreling in here, they likely can't stop this. And even though there's some annoying positions, all over the place, I don't know what this is, but, well, I mean, okay, that's, yeah, it's somewhat annoying, not too bad. I guess, these ones are a little bit more annoying. But even though there's all these annoying positions, you can Molotov most of these, and you can smoke off most of these. So VP are in a great position to take this bomb site. Astralis, knowing this, they send Device and Zipex to at least, even if the round is lost, be able to do a lot of damage, or be able to save the guns, or be able to make a play later in the round. And this is what we're going to see happening. And you could already see, actually, Dupree, he knows how Bialy plays. He's expecting the push here from Bialy. So if we speed this up a little bit, we can start to see that VP are trying to give themselves options now, because what they have is Bialy in a forward position, and this is generally how a lot of their defaults are probably going to look in rounds like this. But I think this could be considered a mistake, whereby they're trying to play this like they don't actually have a massive advantage already. They can just try to run in. Perhaps there's something they know about Astralis that makes them not want to do that straight away. But either way, in Bialy getting this extra information, in seeing that the B-bomb site's free, And in Virtus.Pro having delayed for so long, it's much harder to know where the B player actually is going to be. Is he still on the site? Is he in Suez? Or is he in fact already rotating or rotated to A? These are the three major possibilities. However, we're going to see it transpire in not a particularly nice way here for VP, because dupree's position is... Oh, why is it not going to dupreeh? There we go. So he's got a really nice off angle here that you can see the stairs on. Easy first frag, and he gets himself a second one as well. There's no trade possibility. Now this puts them in a really weird spot. dupreeh obviously is pinched into a corner here. So in reality, VP should still be able to deal with dupreeh, and you can see that Bialy does in fact get that kill. So now they're in a spot where they got kills on both bomb sites, and all they have to do is get the bomb, and Bialy's already on the B bomb site. So we really want Neo to be going to that B bomb site. With this already clear. They only don't know where Zipex is. Zipex is a bit of an unknown quantity here, but obviously, you know, everybody's seen this round. Zipex ends up killing every player because Neo, instead of going to B, where Bialy is, he goes straight to A. And again, let's consider where Bialy came from. Bialy cleared all this space around here. So at least all this is clear. At least to the bomb planting spot is clear. So this is definitely a spot where VP really should be winning this round in the majority of cases. Okay, so this round is interesting because Astralis have no money. And money is useful for lots of things in life, especially in a game of Counter-Strike. We're going to have an aggression from Astralis because, like the last round, they don't have much money. They have a very inferior buy. They have a limited utility. It's about this concept, right? If you want to play passively, and there is definitely an argument for this, to play passively as a strategical choice, then you must at some point, if you want to play passively from the get-go, you must at some point with a weaker buy play aggressively, because you can mitigate that disadvantage a little bit with having being able to kill the clock, because the clock can provide you information only if it's run down low enough. So playing aggressively to play passively. That's what we're going to see here. Once again, pop flash from Glaive for Kirby. This time Kirby is going to be in a position where actually there's nobody there. And that is fantastic, because that actually means that they get all this information, they take all this map control away, and what this does is it forces VP to have to play slowly. They have to give respect that Astralis can have some positions around these spots at this point, and they have to slowly clear it. I mean, why not? They have the time to do it, so why not play it safe? In the meantime, instead of setting up in any of these places, and again, this is all the map control Astralis potentially have, they go all the way back onto the bomb sites. They're really, really hoping that VP play this very, very slowly, and that they kill enough time so that there's around 30 to 40 seconds left, or even less, ideally, on the clock before VP actually are able to be in a position where they can push a bomb site, which already leaves them in a spot where they're more or less committed to move to a bomb site, and this is what Astralis wants. VP go with an interesting play here because they decide to go up A long. I say interesting, it's smart, actually. They know there's no AWP, and AWP is a problem if you are playing this kind of game where you've got a bunch of people coming up this position. You've got no split potential towards the toilets. Really big problem, because the AWP is only scary if you can't trade it. And that's one of the reasons why it's such a good weapon, because it can be put in spots where it's untradeable. And that is certainly a spot you're setting yourself up for if you don't have anyone to split and a good timing, because the AWP is often going to be around here. And so, in theory, if let's say it's Device and he gets that first kill, all he has to worry about is this position. He's going to look over here, there'll be nothing. It's very smooth sailing, essentially. So, VP, they play it smart. They don't give any presence away that they're going A. So they're trying to really throw Astralis off from that sense. That said as well, they're committed here. There's no rotation potential through this. There's like no man's land here. They have no idea what's going on here. So they cannot possibly rotate. Bialy is just a lurker. So what we're going to see is Astralis with 3 players towards B, praying that it's going to be B. B is easier to retake than A, so this is Astralis feeling like they have a little bit of a read at this position. It's already a case of VP now, because again, the time is so low. As soon as they throw these smokes, in comes movement. In comes movement. They go for the rotation. And Pasha, poor Pasha, he's always going to die in this position. He has to be looking in towards these spaces. He just has to do it. So we're going to quickly see how this goes down. Trades, playing run and gun with the UMP is wonderful stuff. Okay, now it's chaos, right? Absolute chaos. So it's hard to call, it's hard to call people out in these spots. But I feel like after reviewing this, that Taz is definitely in quite a forward position here. The thing is that he runs into this spot just to clear these, basic positions, and then he spots Device here with the UMP, and likely thinks he can win this fight, and most of the time he probably does. But in this occasion, trying to get back into position after being a little bit out of position. Again, it's hard for him to know that, to see if Device actually gets a kill. Now, it's hard to call that a misplay, but the reality is he didn't need to be in this forward position because the bomb was going down around the crates, which means that that no one, in fact, had to be past this position. They could just set up in these spots here, like one person here, two people around this area, anything like that, or even potentially all three players can fall all the way back here because this plant is very strong to defend from these positions. You do not have to push past this site, which is why Dignitas, or rather North now, they do this wall of smoke strategy where they just plant here. They create the wall of smokes. The defense they've pushed the defense back. They create the wall of smokes, and they fall back into these positions and never bother to take the site. It's very strong. So that is basically where this round is lost. This one is going to more or less be about how you play that advantage, and that it doesn't always necessarily work out as planned. And that's going to be the story for Astralis. It's always good to see Bialy here, just working this position. He's been doing this consistently, getting control of sewers for the team. There's the Molotov, flashes himself, so he's safe to go for the spray. And there's the early pressure. Now, if we go towards the A side of the map, we can note that Kirby and Device take an interesting setup. This is sort of a potentially quite risky setup that you don't too commonly see anymore these days, because if you, again, spot it and instantly kill the guy who's boosted, which is Kirby, then the other guy's going to die probably trying to run away. But they have a way to make this place safe. They have smoke on Device. Also, what Astralis is very good at, that a lot of teams aren't necessarily quite good at, is not overstaying their welcome in some setups and positions. That's something that, again, is hard to recognize when you should move and when a setup is no longer good, but Astralis seem to have a very uncanny sense for that ability. So Kirby gets a frag hit, and there goes the smoke from Device. Boom. No way to trade this frag now. No way to trade this frag. And so this allows Astralis to play very passively now. They do not have to play forwards. They already have an advantage, and that advantage essentially evens things out a little bit, so that if there is a numbers advantage, let's say the remaining 4 players attack onto a bomb site, it's still going to be looking like, with the defender's advantage and the architecture and the choke points and stuff and counter flashes that they will be afforded, it's still going to be great for Astralis. They can just chill now. It's up to VP to make a decision. Bialy has sewers. He has information towards Monster that these are areas that they have under control. So really, they could go to either bomb site. And they know that. Now, the situation is that they have a few grenades left. They're in a position where they can actually go for a smoke play onto the A-bomb site. And with a numbers disadvantage, that is probably the most consistent, or one of the most consistent ways to play this. Astralis, probably anticipating this, have 3 players on the harder site to retake, which is A. And one of the reasons why A is quite interesting on this map is because, these wall of smokes allow you to plant in this position here, and then all of a sudden you can just fall back. You never have to actually take the more passive and the deeper positions where every single player actually is at the moment. So that is essentially going to be the play here. Astralis have the numbers advantage. So that's basically what this comes down to this round. So we're going to see how it actually works out. Bialy, he goes for a quick play into B, just about caught that, and it doesn't work out. That's really good because Bialy could have caught someone there. If he does kill Dupree, then he can start exerting pressure into B as the push can come into A, because they're still committed to pushing into A, and that would have been sick. But unfortunately, he doesn't get that to happen for himself, and now come the nades. So we're going to see these smokes and these Molotovs as they try to clear the site. Very passive positions, ends up sort of backfiring, because look at all this space that VP were able to take to actually throw these nades. Pasha was very comfortable there. Kirby doesn't have anyone to play off of, so he's playing a very tight angle, trying to keep himself alive to make sure that rotation can come in. And rotation has come in, but look at this. It's a clusterfuck back there behind those smokes. So, a great position here for VP. There should never be a way for them to lose after getting these forward smokes, after getting a great plant. They got good coverage on the bomb. They've even got the deeper spots on the site. So yeah, that's the GG in this round. Speed up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Everyone's dying. Brilliant. Interestingly, VP have I think, notice and realize that whenever Device has an AWP, they are way less aggressive towards the party in the fountain position, generally speaking. The only AWPing they've seen from Device on this side of the map is in this position right there. In the previous rounds where they had less economy, we would sort of see very forward plays, deep smokes from the CTs of Astralis to deny map control for as long as possible to try to use or burn the clock away. But now Astralis want to get money out of Device. They want to get the value out of Device's AWP. He's going to play a setup with Kirby like this. And Virtus.Pro, they're going to have Bialy doing the usual business, taking sewers. And the way that he does it is he throws the Molotov, very classically, throws the Molotov across, and as he runs forward to take position to spam, he throws a flashbang for Monster, and then he gets into this position and spams through the boards there. And this is not to get a kill necessarily. I mean, sometimes it can happen. It shouldn't, but sometimes it can. But it does just pressure this position. And so if the CTs have themselves try to pressure any positions like this, then it allows VP to not give up the entire map. So they always have something to work with, which is very important, to be honest, especially with how Astralis a team that's very good at aggressively and safely taking positions. However, again, Device has an AWP, not the case. Another thing to note here is that, again, previously we knew Device to be playing fairly aggressively around this position with an AWP, and I already mentioned that we've only seen him here once so far with that AWP. So it's something to think about. Is that a meta consideration of Astralis versus Virtus.Pro, that meta? Because again, at the very top level, it's team versus team meta. These two teams have studied each other. They know how one another plays. They know how the star players play. They can get edges by exploiting that. And what we're going to see from Device is that he's just going to play it really safe, and that's what he's been doing generally on the Overpass. And it's not been a huge impact comparatively with the rest of the tournament so far, but again, it could just be the play style of his opponents. Either way, what's really cool here is we will see VP playing on this information. We just missed it, but they had a pop flash here for Pasha to peek this position, and he did it very safely with the apex of his jump to make sure that they knew where the AWP was. Because if the AWP isn't here, it's probably here. And now what we're going to see from Pasha is a pop flash for that position, specifically where Device actually is. So the flash is going to come out. There it is. And where's Device number 6? So throws the flashbang, and perfect. Takes a shot. They know where the AWP is now. Now this is quite cool to see. If you know the angle that Device takes, I'm not going to be able to draw a very straight line here, but Snax holds his angle, maintains his angle, and it's very, very close to Device, but not quite. And Device knows that he can't peek out further. Some AWPers might actually go for a repeak here. They might try to pop flash repeat play, but Astralis are a team that play their fundamentals to a very high level, and they rely on those fundamentals. They don't like to take massive risks. They take calculated risks that make sense, generally speaking, as opposed to some teams that just try to leverage a huge amount of individual skill on a player and try to take risks a lot with that guy to try to just throw other teams into turmoil. Astralis get it done with good fundamentals. It's one of the reasons why they're one of the best teams to learn from. So Device is not going to peek into Snax's AWP here, which would be very unfavorable. And now what we're going to see is VP go very fast towards the B side of the map. Straight away, just beelining it. And that's almost, it is everybody from the team. The only thing to note is that Bialy is very slow to take sewers, much slower than normal, which is a little bit annoying because in a spot like this, it's actually not going to matter, but you'd like to see VP get much more quickly into these positions for the B split. But what we're going to see is that situation regardless. So some time will pass, but they'll be able to set up their execution, and you can see from the positioning of Astralis, nothing really changes here. So again, very important round. We're into the last 3 rounds. VP still have a 1-round lead. They're putting this round down to a play it onto the B-bomb site, a quick execution, and that of the set piece. And that is very chaotic, but if it goes well, Device is going to get screwed. But it all comes down to how much damage Dupree and Zipex can do on their initial defense, and then Glaive as he comes in quickly. So let's see how it goes. Oh. So here we go, they come in. Now Dupree does an amazing job. 1 kill turns quickly into 2 kills. Taz can't react in time to understand where Bialy died from. That is the panic and the chaos of pushing in as the first 2 players of a bomb site. It's always very hard. And Zipex gets his money worth on the long, or rather the advanced fixtures position as well. So it goes down to a 2-on-2, and I don't think you can really blame VP for losing this round. This is a really hard position, to be honest, because the remaining 2 Astralis players are so unknown. I feel like it is definitely favored for Astralis. I mean, look at these positions here. Kirby gets himself a really good flank. Snax doesn't give his position away, but he's got to win 2-1 versus 1. 2-1 versus 1s, and even though he kills Device here and makes it possible, and you can see he's on for the ace as well, I still feel like Astralis had the advantage here, and I don't really feel like VP had a misplay, a great misplay in this position. Alright, so round 29, and things are getting tense, 14-14. Device back on the AWP, and as we mentioned in the previous rounds, VP have a pretty good understanding of what that actually means. They've been pretty consistent at dealing with it safely, so if we just skip ahead in time a little bit, what we're going to see is VP, again, as I mentioned, diligently trying to make sure that they're safe from the AWP. Device going into similar position. Previously, Kirby was supporting him there. This time, Kirby is playing from the other side. Just always mixing it up our Astralis. However, what we're going to see is Pasha actually on the AWP, interestingly. You can see him right there on the AWP. Neo's going to be lining up a flashbang here, so there's limited presence towards this position. In fact, they're kind of just guessing more that Device is in this spot. And for $200, the flashbang is going to kind of confirm it. Device gets completely blinded there. You have to take my word for it, but he just gets very blinded. He has to run all the way back here towards a more passive position, effectively giving this space to Virtus.Pro. Because, okay, sure, Device can see here, but he can't see, obviously, in all of these areas. So, and with that smoke down as well, all of a sudden, this is all the map control that essentially VP have. Of course, this area in sewers is a little bit unknown at the moment, but what's really cool here is that using this map control, VP actually set a fake up. Snax is going to help to smoke. Pasha and Neo are going to help to smoke and Molotov pressure as well. And the key thing here is that the clock is going to be suggestive of the play being actually a set piece into the A bomb site. Now, what happens here is that this causes an info play because Astralis are like, what the hell is going on? And Bialy, look at the timing here of Bialy. He peeks out just as the smokes go down here, or as the grenades go down in that position. He peeks out, spots Dupree at perfect timing, and now Dupree may have called it, I believe that he has, that the play is actually coming into the B bomb site. But because Dupree died just soon enough, or rather that VP were basically around here when they killed Dupree in this position, the time it takes to move here, how do I do that again? Is it shift? Yeah. The time it takes to move that is like 3 seconds. Those 3 seconds, maybe even slightly longer, let's say 4 seconds, is enough for Astralis to get players to start pummeling back, or barreling back into the bomb site very quickly. And now, let's think about this. This is still a 3-on-3. Or in fact, no, it's even worse than that. It's going to be a 3-on-4 if Zipex is able to delay with some additional flashbangs, which is exactly what's happening. I mean, effectively, Pasha and Neo, their only use was for the fake. They are effectively without impact now. They have no impact. And let's have a look at what happens. At normal speed, he's smoked off. The flashes keep coming in. And these flashes have kept, look, it just kept them in this position. They're still not in the bomb site. So the fake kind of worked. They got a pick from it, but now they they essentially are in a position where they kind of have to overcommit the bomb in because of the nature of a fake. They had to kill the clock to make the fake a fake and actually sell it. And now they're in a spot where the bomb is in a horrible position. Astralis with counter grenades delayed them, and they have everyone on the site. This is a 3-on-4 with the 4 having better positioning than the 3 by far. And these guys will never arrive in time. And the 3 remaining players have to go for the push because of the time. This is such a hopelessly terrible situation. And the amazing thing is, if you look at the timing, like up until the point when Bialy is able to get the pick off on Dupree there, it looked like a sick round. But now it's a quite the opposite. And you're going to see actually Zipex getting a kill the UMP. They're still slowed down. Device is in position. You know, everybody's in a good position. Glaive in a very important spot. He's so forward there, able to get a quick kill, and Virtus.Pro just having to rush. They have to plant. Bialy's just there. He's alone. He's barely got any cover there. So yeah, it's the time really kills us. It's quite sad here for VP, but obviously this is one of the last rounds where things really go wrong for them. So this one's a little bit sad, I gotta say, if you're VP and if you're a fan of VP, and just generally, it's a tough situation. So VP do a good job in this round of clearing out space. Once again, Device with the AWP, he's going to be lurking around, it's always going to be a problem, and you got to make sure you deal with him effectively. And so what we're going to see here is Virtus.Pro doing just that, byali doing his regular thing, trying to pressure into sewers, and that's going to be interesting later. Device just missed it, very fast picking opportunity, actually messes up the shot, or in fact was not availed the shot. Either way, he's in a forward position here, and VP need to flash him away. And they do this quite effectively. You can see he throws a forward incendiary to delay them pushing his position to allow him to have the ability to take this shot. Because whilst the Molotov is down, they can't push from the left side, so he knows he's got like about 7 good seconds where he can hold that position. However, VP do the smart thing. They realize, you know what, we realize the Device is kind of sticking around this position. We're just going to hightail it towards the long area, and 4 of them do. So they realize that, and look how far they up before Device moves. Device has not moved yet. He's going to reset his position towards the long, but by the time he gets there, so we can draw a straight line. By the time he gets there, still, like, you can see VP never going to move past that line. Never moving past that line, which means that they effectively have all this positioning now, which is great for VP. And they have the option as well to get a smoke down here, or whatever they want to do, or even a forward smoke to prevent any forward picking potential if they want to harass this area. And they have now access towards sewers. However, in the meantime, after byali did his initial pressure, because he slowed down the timing and he was looking more out for Monster, look what we have here. This is maybe the first time that Zipex and Dupree, I think it is the first time that Zipex and Dupree are in these positions. Let's play it slowly. This crossfire setup is the crossfire setup that ends the game, or ends this map. This crossfire setup is depressingly good, I mean, in this round. And it's because Taz doesn't see Zipex when he opens the door. Because what they decide to do is to go for a split here. And there's not much analysis to do, but this is really something that you would very much like not to ever, ever, ever happen. Obviously, we have the X-ray. Let's do it slow motion here. Slow motion. Oh, actually, let's not switch to Zipex. I don't have the instant switch thing on. Oh my god, it's taking forever to get back to Taz. Poor old Taz. He's going to open the door eventually. Okay, opens the door, and I think he quite clearly sees Zipex there. Unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, he gets like there is some time where you see Zipex there. I mean, if you watch it in normal speed, but oh my god, oh my god. I'm pretty sure another guy comes in and gets wrecked. There it is. Zipex just playing out of his mind, kills everyone, and that essentially forces Neo and byali to try to clutch this into B. There's no other opportunity to win this round and save the day and move through overtime unless Neo does the unthinkable. And he actually gets a chance here. The element of surprise gives him 1 kill, and he actually gets, I think, almost the first shot off there. Very even fight. If he wins that against Glaive, it's actually a 2 versus 2, and it becomes winnable. But byali's now in a position which is just too hard, not enough time to plant the bomb, no one to cover him. So that's the GG right there. So there you have it. That is it. Oh my god, what's going on here? So that's it. I mean, we saw a good 4 or 5 rounds there. I believe 5 in the end. And VP, I mean, these are all the rounds where were the most marginal, or where maybe you could call the greatest misplays, and were the most important rounds for VP of the remaining or the last 10 or so. So I don't think it's really as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. I think, you know, VP made some very reasonable errors here and there. In some spots it was quite marginal, and some spots were just very chaotic. And Astralis played very safe. They played very well. Astralis are hard to crack, especially this tournament. As I mentioned previously, their fundamentals are very good. So as far as answering the question goes, I don't think the VP threw this away at all. They had some spots which were regrettable from a strategic standpoint, where they kind of created strategies with like a double-edged sword, like the fake, for example, where they kind of put themselves in a spot. They committed themselves into a spot which initially looked like it could have been good, but then turned out to be absolutely horrible. And, you know, there's similar stuff to that. Obviously, that one overextension from Taz caused an issue there. Obviously, Zipex getting so much value out of that forward position, not usually going to happen. But generally, if you look at all the good things that VP did in this match, they did deal with Device very well. Device didn't really have an impact that much. The only impact that he had was the fact that VP quite clearly had to use a lot of grenades and had to be very, very cognizant just to deal with him and to play. And they had to play the map and give him respect, and that generally slowed their play down. Whenever he had an AWP, they had to play a lot slower, and that's a lot of the rounds in which they had problems were the rounds where they had to play it slow. So there you have it.